Hello everybody, my name is Snipiness and I welcome you all back to the 94th character or characters of my list of newcomer ideas for Super Smash Bros. Ultimate. And like I said in the last video with Sakura from Sakura Wars, character number 94, or characters, I keep saying character, but this is a double. This is the first time I think I've ever really done a double in this, in this series. But Billy and Jimmy Lee from the Double Dragon franchise, one of the most classic, one of the most old school beat 'em up franchise, long before Final Fight, long before Streets of Rage, and Captain Commando and shoot 'em ups like Sunset Riders and whatnot. We had a Double Dragon in the arcades and on the original Nintendo and whatnot, and the Super Nintendo and so on and so forth. So when you guys are probably confused, like double, what do you mean? Like they're gonna be a dual character like Ice Climbers, or they're gonna be like is that what you're talking about? Or are you doing like a dual character? No, this isn't a dual character. I'm saying this as a Elf Olimar, the Koopalings for Bowser Jr. These are the same character slot, but two different characters in them. Billy and Jimmy Lee, the Lee brothers from the Double Dragon franchise. You can't have Billy without Jimmy. You can't have Jimmy without Billy. You also can't have Bimmy, which is an Angry Video Game Nerd reference, and also a mess up and typo on the old NES games. So there you go. Well, like I said, I'm including both of them in the same slot. So 4 costumes are Billy, 4 costumes are Jimmy. They're both in the same slot. So the moveset and reasons of why I'm doing in this video, and Final Smash and Percentage Chance, applies to both of them. So let's get started for why I feel Billy and Jimmy Lee, the Lee brothers from Double Dragon, deserve to be in Smash Brothers. First category. Second category, moveset ideas. And third category, percentage chance I could actually see him getting in. So why does Double Dragon deserve to be represented? Why should it be one of these big-time third-party franchises to get represented alongside the likes of Bayonetta and Metal Gear Solid and Castlevania and Pac-Man and Street Fighter and Mega Man and all these other, whatever, any other future third parties? Why should it be in there? Well, first and foremost, like Double Dragon is one of the most popular, and I mentioned this just a minute ago, one of the most popular, one of the most iconic beat-em-up franchises ever. It is an iconic series in the gaming industry, Nintendo or otherwise. This series has been around since the 80s. This series is pretty much the one that popularized the beat-em-up franchise. You wouldn't have Final Fight or Captain Commando or any of these beat-em-ups now that are like on the Xbox marketplace and whatnot if it probably wasn't for Double Dragon popularizing the genre. It is one of the most iconic beat-em-up franchises, if not the most iconic beat-em-up franchise in the gaming industry today, back then, in the future, and whatever. It's a long-running historical franchise, and it has super close ties to Nintendo. The first game, the second game, the third game were all on the NES. There was Super Double Dragon on the, on the Super Nintendo. I believe there was a Game Boy version at some point. They've released collections of them. They've been on the Virtual Console on the Wii and Wii U and whatnot. And also the most recent game, which before I get to even the Nintendo recent, it's not like it's an older series that hasn't had games in a long time. A couple years ago, they brought the franchise back for like PlayStation, Xbox, Double Dragon Neon or Neo or whatever, and they brought the series back as an iconic game you could download on the PlayStation Network and on the Xbox Marketplace. And guess what? That version is on the Switch now. They put that game on the Switch, so it is the modernized version of these characters of their franchise is on Nintendo. Not just the classic, but the new games. And if they modernized it that many years after, you don't think this series is going to continue? There's going to be a new Double Dragon at some point on the Switch and PS4 and whatnot, and the next generation systems and generation systems after that. It's an old classic that was brought back that's never going to die, and there you go. And pretty much, Billy and Jimmy Lee, like if their franchise is an iconic historical franchise, they're gaming icons, whether you want to admit it or not. They are gaming icons. Billy and Jimmy Lee, the Lee brothers, are in there with Pac-Man, are in there with Galaga, are in there with Mario in Legend of Zelda, in Metal Gear Solid, in the PlayStation, in the arcades, in Nintendo versus Sega, and this big historical history of the gaming industry. So, and they're the main characters of the series, so you kind of have to make sure that's the reason why for them. So I'm talking about Double Dragon a lot here, but it also applies to them because they're the main characters of the series. So, that said, let's get into the second category. Moveset ideas. And if you've played the actual games, any of them, you know exactly what I'm saying. I'm pulling moves from them. I'm pulling moves pretty much exactly from, like how they do with Ryu with Street Fighter, pretty much pulling moves exactly from the game, from the Street Fighter series, into his moveset. These two are trained martial artists. They know, if I can hopefully pronounce this correctly, Sasesuken martial arts strikes. It's basically a combination of like karate, tai chi, and shorinji kempo. So they're karate masters, they're martial arts masters, and they know how to get into a fight and defend themselves and whatnot. So that's going to be a good chunk of their moveset. And that's exactly what I'm doing for their smash attacks. They're all going to be punches and kicks that you can standardly do in the game. There is a spin kick, an over shoulder throw, which will be their grapple. You can grab them over their shoulder, toss them to the ground. They can do an uppercut. They could headbutt you. They could jump kick. They can elbow punch. They could do a whirlwind kick. That's going to be all their special attacks off this Setsuken martial arts, which is based off Jeet Kune Do. So it's like an actual standard martial arts. They can even bring in some people who know how to do this martial arts to show them the moves, and then they can use that as animations for the game, probably. So it's like, that's what I'm doing for the smash attacks. Their smash attacks are all the martial arts, because I have a little something special I want to do for their special attacks. So all the whirlwind kicks, spin kicks, jump kicks, headbutts, punches, grabs, over shoulder throws are going to be in their smash attacks. The special attacks, and people probably, when they watch my video on Axel Stone, probably would be surprised I didn't include any of this on his moveset, because this is a standard in beat-em-ups, is the use of picking up weapons and beating people over them. I wanted to diversify and make it like a different moveset for Axel Stone and Streets of Rage versus Billy and Jimmy Lee and Double Dragon. Because in the Streets of Rage story, they're technically, I want to kind of change up a little bit, because these people like Axel and Blaze and all that are former cops. So they more so can defend themselves and fight, under the law. They don't have to pick up a giant bottle of glass and smash you over the head with it or shoot you with a gun or whatever. They can beat you up themselves. I kind of want to diversify that, because these guys, are cops. They're former cops, and even though they left the police force, I kind of wanted to represent that as a small, diverse, moveset from the Streets of Rage characters versus doing Billy and Jimmy Lee from Double Dragon. So I left all the special attacks, punches, kicks, and slide, whatever, shoulder tackles, and whatever for Axel Stone. That's his moveset. The weapon strikes are all the special attacks from Billy and Jimmy Lee, because to them, they're just trying to save their city from stuff, and they're trained martial artists, but they're not under the law or anything, so I'm kind of diversifying like that. So all the punches and kicks from the game are going to be the smash attacks. The special attacks are going to be all the weapon strikes, and there's numerous weapons you could use in the game. There's the likes of a boomerang, a baseball bat, a box, a knife, a kunai, shovel, grenade, beer bottle, metal pipe, nunchaku, sai, and shurikens, which obviously that's a little too much. I wrote them down as doing research throughout all different games. Those are all different ones you can see throughout the games. Normally, you'd probably have about 4 or 5 of them as special attacks. So obviously the baseball bat. They're going to pull out a baseball bat and smash you upside the head with it. They're going to have a beer bottle, because that's the standard thing. So they pull out a beer bottle and they smash you upside the head with it. Metal pipe, pow! Nunchaku, bam! Boom! That's a major one from their series too, and it diversifies because none of the characters in the game have a nunchaku. And then maybe a grenade can be used. They could throw grenades, so it's like their distance attacks and it can cause an explosion. And that right there could be about the 5, or maybe if not the metal pipe, maybe the shovel, or maybe if not the grenade, maybe the shuriken or something. You pick about 5 or 6, like 4 to 6 of those, and that could be a good moveset for them in special attacks. And the final smash, I'm kind of making my own original thing, because it's Billy and Jimmy Lee, and I'd like their final smash to engulf both of them. So it doesn't matter which costume you are, if you're playing as a Billy or you're playing as Jimmy. The final smash is the same, obviously, and it's going to be the double dragon. So they both, you strike them, you do the final smash, you hit your opponents, and the opponents you hit with some sort of punch kick type of thing, get sent into a cutscene, probably in the middle of the streets that you play Double Dragon on. Billy and Jimmy Lee team up and they start punching, kicking, throwing boxes at you, nunchakuing you, just double kicks, punches. They're teaming up on you. They're the Double Dragons, and they go and they just beat you up, and then they just do this one final punch, strike, kick thing, and send you flying off the stage. And then Marion, which is Billy's girlfriend, joins them on the stage, and they all celebrate like yay. And then she leaves the stage. It goes back to the standard smash stage, and the opponents get respawned. So there you go. percentage chance I could see them actually getting in. They're not the highest, but they're not the lowest either. And I think their iconic status, you know, and the fact that they've been around so long and are still fairly relevant, I think at least gives them a decent chance. I'm giving them a 45% chance. It's not the highest, but it's not the lowest. It's almost mid-range, and I think at least them being super iconic video game characters in the arcades and on the home consoles is warranted enough to get them in. The fact that they're brought back for Double Dragon Neon is enough to warrant them in. The fact that they're gaming icons should warrant them to be in and join Snake and, you know, Simon Belmont and everything. Especially because a lot of those characters started at the same time as they did. They're as old and as iconic as those characters. So pretty much, yeah. So we have 45% chance. There's other third parties I see them throwing in probably over Billy and Jimmy. I could see them picking an indie character probably before Billy and Jimmy, like Shantae or Gunvolt or Steve from Minecraft. Or, you know, someone like that. I could see him picking Rayman before them. I could see him doing like Sega characters like Streets of Rage and, you know, Yakuza probably before them. Other various franchises. So yeah, Travis Touchdown, maybe they pick him for him because of friendship with Suda Hesse Sakurai. You know, various characters I could see. Resident Evil, you know, Monster Hunter, Ace Attorney, I think would all probably get in before them. But there's a lot of third-party franchises that fall beneath Double Dragon, and I think Double Dragon's iconic status in of itself should warrant the characters getting into Smash Brothers. So yeah, Billy and Jimmy Lee for Smash Brothers. Woo! And that's it for Billy and Jimmy Lee from Double Dragon. Put in the comments what you guys think. Do you guys want to see them? Are you fans of Double Dragon? Do you guys want to see the Double Dragons, the Billy and Jimmy Lee brothers in Smash Bros? My reasons make sense. What reason would you have? Do you just not want them at all? My movesets make sense. What would you do to change them? Or are they good enough as is? 45% chance. Too high? Too low? Put it in the comments below and discuss it there. I think it'd be kind of cool to see them in there. And I'm not even like nostalgic super for Double Dragon, but I love the games and do think they deserve it. But there's a few other choices I think that should get in before them. But I think it's inevitable at some point in Smash Bros. Whether it's in Ultimate, Smash Bros. 6, 7, 8, 9, 10, 11, 1000. Eventually, I think they should be in. So there you go with that. And with that said, that's it for character number 94. When I come back on my next video, character number 95 is going to be Return to the World of Resident Evil. It's been quite a long time, good 30 some odd characters, 40 some odd characters since I talked about Leon Scott Kennedy. This time I'm going to talk about another super relevant, Super Nintendo oriented Resident Evil main character when I talk about Jill Valentine. Till then, have a nice day, peace, please subscribe if you want to, have a lovely day, I just said, and see you all in the next video. And remember, Double Dragon. Bye.